are so many Christians insistent on making themselves the main character in every story. While the rest of the world is celebrating the world-class athletes at the Olympics, a lot of Christians seem to want to make the narrative about themselves. They believe that the opening ceremony was about mocking them. They're convinced the French government is making fun of them. Newsflash, this is literally nothing to do with you. Hi everyone, I'm Hazel the Heretic, and I enjoy stirring up discourse about the world around us with plenty of humor and snark, as well as sharing my personal experiences within Christianity. Before we start, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss an update. I'm almost to 100 subscribers, so please subscribe to get in early. I really appreciate everyone that subscribed, especially as a small channel. And if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up and comment your favorite Olympic game below, and I'll reveal mine at the end of the video. Look, I'm no French apologist. Free New Caledonia, absolutely. But what comes to mind when you think of the Olympics? Athletes, the Olympic Village, the food, or maybe the origins of the name? Mount Olympic? During the Paris Olympics opening ceremony, the depiction of the Greek gods like Dionysus led some Christians to mistakenly believe that it was mocking the Last Supper, not an interesting representation of the Greek food festival Bacchus, which the French government has now said that is what it was representing. And if you just look at it for a second, it is so not the Last Supper. Since when has Jesus been blue? Like, what is going on? It just shows me that Christians really don't seem to know much about other religions. And it's surprising to see some Christians claiming that they're oppressed by this ceremony that was featuring drag and pagan art.
So what's going on with the Olympics? I mean, it starts off with one of the weirdest opening ceremonies of all time. They have this mockery of the Last Supper of Jesus Christ with trans characters taking the place of the apostles. And there's this outrage from Christians around the world, and justly so. And they say, well, you misunderstood it.
They genuinely believe it's a mockery of the Last Supper, even though most people in Europe, the US, and the world are Christian. Dude, they're probably not making fun of you. France is doing this to try to get more people to come to France. It's a tourism advertisement. They want people to come. And if most people in the world are Christians, they're not trying to make fun of you. You're just so sensitive. It's not about you. Thomas Scholl, the artistic director, explained that the table represented Dionysus and it wasn't any sort of religious provocation. It was based on the Olympics, Mount Olympus with the gods. It just fits so much better into the Olympics. I don't know, where would they have pulled the Last Supper out of their ass? That has nothing to do with the Olympics. That wouldn't make any sense. Does anyone else know what it's like to feel like you're missing out on learning about the whole entire world? When I was in high school, I went to a Christian school, and I swear to God, I learned Roman history a couple times, and I learned the US history 4 times. I don't know anything about the rest of the world. I've learned most of my history after high school because they focused in so much on specifically like Rome and then a little bit of the UK, but really just to like get us over to America. And then it's all about American history. We're so focused on ourselves. There's a whole world out there. I'm bored about talking about us all the time. Let's talk about some other things. So I feel like I missed out on learning about world history. It just shows that many Christians seem to think there's no other Roman art or culture or painting that's not Christianity. It's not like the Romans stole all their gods from like a lot of Greek gods and smushed them together with Christian God. It's just insane to have such a lack of knowledge of the outside world that you can't even imagine other religions just enjoying their religion, whether it's through more of a mythos of just like enjoying the holiday. I mean, if you're so for religious freedom of speech and expression, why would it be bad that someone celebrated the Greek gods in the Olympics?
When it came to the Paris Olympics and the opening ceremony, a lot of people, Christians and non-Christians, are saying that they made a whole opening ceremony about them mocking the Last Supper of Jesus Christ. And so we're going to just jump straight into that and look at the opening ceremony stuff they're talking about. So this is the first video I have. It's these drag women or men. I'm not going to get into that. but walking on this catwalk, nothing too unusual here. I mean, it's pretty strange to me, but nothing about mocking Christianity yet. And you'll see as it progresses, we're going to jump into another clip that seems kind of vaguely demonic.
Ça ira, as I said,
Remember, this is the Olympics.
All will be well.
Well, this part of the ceremony is entitled Liberty and the Quest for Liberty.
And, you know, I'm just not sure what to think about that when I see the flames and the chanting and the kind of demonic imagery. I'm not saying that it is demonic for sure, but it gives me some alarm bells myself. Here's another part of the festivities in the opening ceremony. They have this man on a white horse. And I don't have the audio for this, but when I first saw the audio, it's pretty eerie. It's got some strange noises going on, and I'm not really sure what they're trying to portray with it. It's a bit of an enigma to me. But when I see this myself, I personally think immediately of the pale white horse of the apocalypse that's recorded in the Bible. I saw some people tweeting about it earlier. Because in the Bible, it says in Revelation chapter 6, verse 8, I looked, and there before me was a pale horse, kind of like the one we just saw. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. And I don't know if the people who were coordinating this knew what they were doing when they were portraying such similar biblical imagery as this. It might just be out of ignorance. So we got the people lined up at what people are saying is reminiscent of the Lord's Supper. And I'm not really sure what's going on here either. It's a bit of a strange depiction. Looks like they're doing a little bit of dancing, and this woman's making some symbols in the middle there. And so it's just left me a bit confused, honestly. But when we're comparing this video to pictures of the Lord's Supper like I'm putting on screen, it seems to have very stark resemblances that I can't really deny. I mean, it looks very similar to the Lord's Supper there. And shortly after they were doing this, it gets even stranger because this weird blue man gets on the table out of a serving tray and he starts singing a song. He's almost naked, and people are saying that this is reminiscent of Jesus being in the middle of the Lord's Supper. It's pretty strange.
Seems like many Christians saw a gay blue man in tights and thought, that's my Lord and Savior. The main guy is literally blue, and he's Dionysus, the Olympian god of wine, vegetation, pleasure, festivity, madness, and wild frenzy. The drag show is literally based on the Young Bacchus Festival, even though this information is just a Google away. And its fascinating history and lore are easily found out. Many Christian influencers and YouTubers got excited about telling everyone how oppressed they are. So why the misconception? In my opinion, it's something that I like to call Christian main character syndrome, where Christians think they are the one and only religion and the only way to the Father, John 3:16. So they also think that they are better than all the other religions. They have the one and only good religion. The only one's going to get you to heaven. The only way through is the Father. And from that comes a sense of superiority when it looks at other religions and other history. And they tend to focus on history that specifically impacted the Christian church that we were currently in. That was my experience, at least. A lot of Christians think that their religion is special. They don't think of it as just one of many religions that are out there. And that's the truth. Christians are, the majority religion of the world, but there are also several other religions, and honestly, this main character syndrome is just not a good look. It makes you look so ignorant, and it's just really sad. And it's a lot of stuff I've had to unlearn as well, because honestly, I could have seen myself doing this like 10 years ago, because you're just so focused in on you and Christianity and how, oh my gosh, everyone has it out for Christianity. Everyone just fucking hates us. Our lives are so hard. So you're thinking maybe people are going out of their way to hurt you because the devil wants to get back at Christians. That comes from this idea that the devil is out to, steal, kill, and destroy, so they're just going to go after Christians and make their lives miserable and hard. When in reality, they're people going through like first world problems, and a lot of it's just like real ignorant. And there are some martyrs out there that have, maybe really died for the faith. But I'm gonna tell you, this is not what's happening here. It's not what's happening here. Has anyone else seen examples of main character syndrome in Christianity? Please share your stories in the comments below, because that was a lot of my Christian education.
Why is Christianity being mocked so much these last 2 years? Did you know that from all the religions in the world, Christianity is the most mocked religion? It is because it is true. Because our fight is not against each other, flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces in the air, demons, the devil that is trying and working through evil men to try and ridicule Christianity, because it is the only way to the Father.
In my old church as a kid, I was told that Christianity had to be true because of all those martyrs that gave their life to Christ. If Peter didn't really believe in Jesus, if it wasn't real, he wouldn't have been hung upside down and let that be the end of his life. That's what I was told for a long time. My old church claimed that the Jews were being attacked in the Holocaust as proof that they were God's people, that Christians get oppressed more and Jews get oppressed more because they're God's people. And that's just not true. I am very sad for all of the Jews in the Holocaust who were hurt. That is disgusting. It's horrible that happened. But that's not why they were attacked, because they're God's holy people. It's because of horrific people that were racist. But if you actually look at statistics with the other people in mind, not just Christian, people like Muslims, transgender people, Native Americans, Black people, I am confident are all have had worse oppression than most Christians. Be some Christians that absolutely do get oppressed. That could happen. I'm not saying it doesn't. But if anything, you're just on the list with a bunch of people. This isn't the oppression Olympics. This is supposed to be the Olympics. But it's not supposed to be who's at the top. I'm the most oppressed. But Christians, in my opinion, like to play that game more than anyone. It's crazy that even with Christians making up the majority of Europe, the US, and the world, they still believe they are an oppressed minority. And they mostly argue this by saying other Christians just aren't Christian enough. They just must have checked the box that said that they believe in God. I've heard that comment before where they say, oh, they're just not actual Christians. They're saying they're Christian, but they don't really believe in God and the Bible. It's so frustrating. Do you not want these people? Do you not care for them? Do you not believe Jesus wants you to bring them in? It doesn't even make sense to just oust other people that have slightly different views than you if you're all about bringing everyone to heaven, unless you need to stay in a minority oppressed position. That's all my opinion. Just some thoughts. Feel free to tell me I'm right or wrong in the comments.
Piers Morgan wrote on X, quote, "By the way, what the F was all this about? A drag queen mockery of the Last Supper at the Olympics? Would they have mocked any other religion like this? Appalling decision."
I think there are very many people who mock the religions they grew up in if they felt them to be oppressive, and if that's what we're seeing in Christianity.
Right. Well, the people who mock Christianity get celebrated. The people who mock Islam get killed if they're in the Islamic countries, but
I don't know. I think any of these people could have been Christian. I think it was good entertainment.
It's frustrating that Christians called out these other people just celebrating themselves, their thoughts, their lore as oppression. Organizers of the Olympics said that they were combining religious art and cultural art to celebrate community tolerance and inclusivity. You are not oppressed when other people are worshiping the way they want in public. If there is a gay Christian man who wants to worship and make out with his husband right after, that is not oppressing you. That is insane that you would say that. It is a different person practicing their belief the way that they want, in a way that's not hurting you at all. If you're gonna try and tell me it hurts you for other people to be gay, that's like a whole nother conversation that I don't know what to tell you, dude. That's crazy. Like, stop being so obsessed with everyone's sex life. It's gross. Ew. They're not making fun of you. They're just worshiping the way that they want, and you have to put up with that. There's other people here. You gotta deal with that. People are dying. Oppression is not people doing something that you don't like. Religious persecution is the systematic mistreatment of an individual or groups of individuals as a response to their religious beliefs or affiliations. This absolutely happens all the time, and it's an unfortunate, reoccurring theme in human history. Let's not change the definition. Let's actually go by the facts. Fun last second add-on that I found here is that, never more sure that you're on the right side of a conversation than when Andrew Tate takes the other side. I also wanted to say that many stories in the Bible, like Noah's Ark, Moses' basket, they all have parallels to other myths and legends that came before Christianity, showing that shared cultural heritage. Christians also got their whole Old Testament from Judaism. Christians have never been the original. Please let me know if you know any other literature, art, or culture that the Bible takes inspiration from in the comments below. I'd love to keep learning more because there's a lot of history that I almost feel like I was actively not taught so that I wouldn't know that there were these myths and legends that clearly the Bible seems to have gotten some of its ideas from, which is no issue unless you take the Bible literally. This is not to say that there are no true Christian martyrs. However, seeing themselves as the center of the world is very unchristlike. American Christians especially seem to think they're the main character of the world and forget that the Bible comes from other cultures and events outside of them. And that there are also other ideas and people that are valid and important, even if they are not Christians. But this situation is not about them. No one was even thinking about them. It honestly is kind of funny if it wasn't so clear that they think of themselves as the ultimate martyr. It really is like they have an oppression kink.
Good morning. Thomas Aquinas stated that every sin is slight compared to blasphemy. Because blasphemy is a sin against God directly, which is greater than even sins against our neighbor. The Olympic blasphemy of those opening ceremonies, in many ways, some people will say, why waste your time on something like that? There's more important things. But really, when it regards blasphemy, there is nothing more important to address. The secular world is determined to exterminate Catholicism. Catholicism is the last group that you can discriminate against.
Due to the Christians having main character syndrome and throwing a tantrum, a few unfortunate things did happen. One, great people like, and I apologize if I mispronounce her name, Anya Nakram, got overshadowed. She is the #1 listened to French speaker musician in the world, creating diverse music with French, Arabic, English, and West African languages like Bambara, which is so amazing, and she was part of the opening ceremony. Second, drag has been disparaged as not an art form, and homophobia has become more accepted. 3, Christians are distancing themselves from the rest of the world, again, deepening divides instead of reaching out and enjoying the art and culture of others. This hurts the people in the Olympics, gay people themselves, and really the rest of the world. Did you see this outrage against the Paris opening? Please share your thoughts and any other examples of Christian main character syndrome that you've seen in the comments below. Remember, you deserve to take up space, even if you're not the majority. Celebrate you the way you want to, as long as you're not hurting others. Share your stories and opinions in the comments below, like if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to hear more. My favorite Olympic game is definitely gymnastics. I know, I'm a basic bitch, but go Simone Biles, go Steven. That's the most patriotic you will ever find me. Remember to keep laughing through the apocalypse. Mwahaha!